Hi everyone, today I'll be reviewing the Amstrad NC100 Notepad computer which I recently purchased on eBay from a seller in the UK in the Valley of Glamorgan, Wales more specifically. And I always wanted this machine because I've always wanted a CPM machine, and even better than that, this is a fully portable CPM machine that runs on AA batteries with a bit of outside hacking and tweaking. It was released in 1992 by Amstrad, the company led by Alan Sugar, and was famously advertised to be usable within 5 minutes or you get your money back. It's a portable Z80 machine. It has a similar form factor to the QuickPad Pro that I'll be showing later, a DOS machine, but also the more famous Tandy Model 100 and 102, as well as the Cambridge Z88, which is probably the closest machine to this. The portable Z80 computer released by Sinclair in the late 80s. So now I'll go through some technical specs. So I mentioned it runs on 8-bit Z80. It has 64K of RAM, 256K of ROM, an 80 by 8 LCD, a built-in serial port, parallel port, and quite excitingly a PC card slot so you can expand memory up to 1 meg with a standard SRAM card. It runs on 4 AA cell batteries and it has a button battery for backup. I'll show the ports in a bit when I rotate the machine. As far as built-in software, it includes the Protext word processor, which is very nice. It has an excellent spell checker, BBC Basic Interpreter, simple calculator, serial terminal program, and then several organizer-like utilities, such as a diary, address book, and time manager. And that I'm all getting from the Wikipedia page. So in a moment, I'll open this up, the case I mean, to show you how the device works. I'll show you what I got with it. I got this nice paperback manual that's very easy to read and has lots of tips on how to use the machine, including some sample basic programs. Hopefully I can get to. Yeah, here we go. And I'll show you these programs a bit later on in the review. They include a reaction time tester, a musical organ program, scientific a graphing calculator program, and analog clock. So I'll include those in addition to showing the other software built in. Now it looks like this BBC Basic Interpreter is quite nice and quite powerful. Okay, so with that, I'll remove this, open up the case, and then show you some of the various features present on different sides of the machine. Okay, so this is the top of the machine that we're looking at here. The on-off switch is in the upper right corner. To the left of it is a piezo speaker. This is the display. It's okay, but it has a bit of glare, and I've heard people will change the display here with that from the Tandy WP-2, which I think is higher contrast, but it's pretty nice. The keyboards is really excellent, and for navigation to different programs, there's a function key and then word, calculator, and diary keys in different colors here to help you use the built-in software. And it shows you can use this in 5 minutes, get to everything you need to use. Before I show the main programs, I'm going to rotate the machine around and show you the ports present in different sides of the device. Okay, so I'm going to start with the right side of the computer. The only important feature here is, and really the only feature present on this side of the machine, is the contrast knob. That changes the contrast to the LCD display. It works very nicely, and that's useful especially if you change the viewing angle. You might put a book on under the back of your NC100, or more conveniently, flip up the legs present on the underside of the machine, which I'll show in a bit. Now if I transition to the rear of the machine, you see these really nice standard serial and parallel ports for printing or connecting to a BBS, or in my case to a Linux machine to use this as a dumb terminal. It's really great that these are standard ports. On machines like the Epson PX8, there's non-standard DIN connectors and you'd have to rig up your own serial cable. Even in my HP 95LX that I love so much, you have to get either the HP serial cable or make a custom one from the audio 4-pin cable that goes on CD-ROM drives. Now the one other feature, last but not least, on the left of the back is this AC adapter jack, and this was a common cause of destroying the NC100. Well, not really destroying it, but making it appear not to work anymore. So the NC100 has a outside positive, inside negative DC adapter, whereas most people would have an inside positive one. A lot of people accidentally put an inside positive 6-volt DC adapter into this plug and cause the fuse to blow, making a lot of these machines appear to fail. And there have been people who've gone these dead NC100s and brought them back to life by replacing that fuse. So that's a nice way to get a cheap NC100 for yourself and an especially inexpensive CPM machine. And now finally, here on the left side of the machine is one of the most wonderful features of the NC100. This is the PC card slot, which enables you to expand the RAM, the storage up to 1 meg with an SRAM card. Yes, this is a Z80 machine with a PC MCIA slot. Truly wonderful. Now, before I start reviewing the main features of the device, I'll briefly show you the back. Right here above the label is the cover for the EEPROM. This has all the built-in software. It's 256K, and unlike the Model 100, I don't know of any option ROMs or alternative ROMs that are available for the device. There might have been some in the US and Canada NC100, which is the NTS Dreamwriter 225, but for the NC100 itself, I don't know of any ROM upgrades, and if you do, please comment below the video. Just to the left and right of that are legs that you can use to prop up the machine to get a more pleasant viewing angle for the display. Flip up and down nicely like that. Up here is the cover for the button cell battery that helps back up the internal RAM. That's a standard CR2032 button cell battery. There have been some issues with NC100s and Dreamwriter 225s where you get this lithium battery low warning that keeps you from using the machine. Mine had that issue, and the way I dealt with it was by cleaning the contacts for each terminal of my button cell battery. It turned out there was a lot of corrosion on the copper contact of the positive terminal of my button cell battery. Fortunately, that works fine now, and I can have all my fun with the NC100. Now, finally, to the right is the cover for the 4 AA batteries. I'm using alkalins, but I bet NIMH or NiCad batteries would work as well. And with really good high-capacity NIMH batteries, you could get even over 20 hours of continuous use. So again, it's wonderful to have a CPM machine that has a PC card slot and runs on AA batteries. And with that, in a second, I'll flip back to the front and show you some features of the device. Okay, and with that, I'll go ahead and start reviewing the built-in software in the NC100. This is the opening screen here, just to show you the contrast knob works. I'll adjust the contrast a little bit. You can get very dark, or nothing, or something that's actually quite readable. And what you can see here is the first 3 applications. They're super easy to get to, and that the user would see upon boot up are the word processor, which you get to from function, yellow and then red, the calculator from yellow and green, and then diary, clock, address book, and other organizer features from yellow and blue. But these are not all the built-in applications. There's also the serial terminal and BBC Basic that I'll get to next. So first I'll go with the word processor, Protext. And after I press yellow and red, I get these 3 menus here, or 3 options here. in the menu. Starting a new document, looking at stored documents, or printing a document. I have some stored documents. I'll press green. And these include the 4 basic programs I'll test out for you, as well as my first document. I'll scroll through that there. Just writing about how incredible the keyboard is and how great it will be to have CP/M running on my NC100. It's a very nice word processor. Again, this is Protext, and it has a 48,000 word spell checker as well as mail merge utilities. To go back, I'll press stop and then stop again. So next I'll go to the calculator. Oops, not just green, yellow and green. And this is a very simple 4-function calculator. It's not even scientific, so not super impressive, but doable for those simple calculations you need. 45 times 8. Voila, 360. So very simple 4-function calculator built in. And then the third set of applications is the organizer functions, yellow and blue. And at least third set that you can see from the main menu. There's the address book in red, I won't go to that. A calendar and diary in green. You have your clock on the left, date, full calendar, and then ability to access by year and then month as well. August 2019, September 2019, and it is the 29th. It is very close to October. Time flies when you're reviewing cool computers. Okay. Now we'll go to the time manager in blue. Yeah, you can set alarm calls, change the time zones. I'm in Eastern Standard Times, and that's why you see New York up in my top status bar on the NC100. So again, you can see how anyone could learn to use how to use an NC100 in 5 minutes or less. Next, I'll show you 2 of the other built-in applications that are very, very nice, the Serial Terminal and BBC Basic. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to cover is that Serial Terminal application. You can't see it in the main menu here, but if I press function S for serial, you get the Serial Terminal program showing up there. Not too much in the screen. If you press the secret menu key over here, you get the option to configure the printer you use, what character set, what type, what port, and then the main settings for the Serial Terminal. 9600 baud, 8N1, or 8N1 from data and stop bits and parity, and then whether there's handshaking on, which, as I understand, is hardware handshaking, RTS, CTS, and so on and so forth. Then stop to finish. And I don't know for sure, but I believe there's X modem transfer. Function S. Yeah, so there's also an X modem transfer ability here, but I won't go into how to use that, and if anyone has a question about it, I can look in the manual. It's a great tool. It's nice to have a machine in this form factor to use as a console for your big servers or just your Linux machines. And in a future video, I'm going to use the Serial Terminal program to do some BBSing with the Retro Battle Stations BBS. Please stay tuned for that. Anyway, next we'll have some fun with BBC Basic. Okay, and now we'll move on to the final part of the video, which is showing you BBC Basic and some sample programs that were included in the manual. So first I'll show you how to get to BBC Basic. That's yellow B. And you can see here BBC Basic NC100 version 3.10. Copyright RT Russell 1992. It's nice and powerful, and it's already caps lock for you without having to press caps lock, which helps with entering in commands. Before I show you the included programs, I need to exit from BBC Basic and go back to the word processor. I do that by pressing star BYE, and that gets me back to the main menu. Okay, now I'll go function word list stored documents, and start with reaction time, which gives you a warning message and then sees how quickly you press a key after seeing that. For people without the manual, I'll step through each of these lines of code for a few seconds for anyone who wants to copy this down and play along at home. Okay. Okay. Now I'll go back to BBC Basic and load that up. To load up a file stored in a text document, I do *exec rxntime. And what that does is it takes an input from a file and then types it out as if you were writing in the keyboard and enters it into the main memory. Now I'll press run. Oh man, it took me half a second to respond to that warning. I'll do it one more time. 0.25 seconds, much better. Okay, so I'll go back, let's see, and show you the next program. Function, Word, list stored documents. The next one is an organ. And what this lets you do is use the keyboard as an electronic organ for playing music through this speaker here. Again, I'll go slowly for anyone who wants to type this at home. Not too long of a program. Okay. Okay. Now I'll load that up again. Exec, *exec organ. Nice. Now we'll run that and see what happens. And that's the tune Asa Branca by the Brazilian country musician Luiz Gonzaga. It's a nice monophonic synthesizer if you want, and you can change the octave with the 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys, and then use the Q and A rows of the keyboard as a simple synthesizer. So that's quite fun and useful. Okay, so I have two more programs. Let me exit again, Shift. I'll show you those again in the word processor. Okay, so there's organ, now a scientific graphing calculator. Okay, hopefully you can pause your video to copy that program down. Function B, star. Let's do sine of small x, lowercase x, and a scaling value of 31 to start. Take a look at that. You have a graphing calculator run in BBC Basic, and you can plot all sorts of functions to your heart's content. Just like a TI-83, so much fun. Okay, so I'll go back and show you one last program, probably the longest one, that will draw a clock in the screen. Oh, wrong command, BYE. Okay. And this one's quite long. If anyone wants it, I can scan the copy of the page in the manual Whoa, lots of code there. And this should be fun. Again, exec clock. And look at that, a nice analog clock drawn in the middle of your NC100 display with the digital equivalent just to its right. Very, very beautiful. Has some subroutines that helps with drawing the clock, the analog clock, and just shows you the power of BBC Basic on this machine. With that, I'd like to thank you for watching. I might have a couple more NC100 videos. One where I log into the Retro Battle Station's BBS using the serial terminal program and the help of TCP or Getty. And then a second video where I show you ZCN, which is the CPM equivalent for this wonderful machine. In the future, I'll also have videos on my HP100LX, my RAVPower FileHub Plus router, as well as other vintage computing delights. Again, thank you all for watching, and please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Bye now.